Hello, and thank you for taking time to listen to this presentation. First of all, I will introduce myself. I'm Mrs. Cooper and I'm in charge of careers at Long Grammar School. The purpose of this presentation is to give you an overview of the support and opportunities that have and will be provided to your son and daughter in terms of careers. I also want to highlight the role that you can play in supporting them through post-18 decision making. First of all, I want to outline the work that has been carried out in school already with your son or daughter. Preparing for the transition started in Year 12 and has continued in Year 13. On the screen, I've highlighted some of the information students have been provided with. They will have had a chance in Year 12 and 13 to look at post-18 options that include apprenticeships, higher level apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships. They will have looked at further education, 16 to 18, and higher education, post-18 colleges such as Belfast Met and NRC, where options such as foundation degrees can be pursued. CAFRE will also have been covered. This is the College of Agriculture, Food and Rural Enterprise, as well as looking at university options. They have had the opportunity to make use of various sources of careers information. Much of this information is available as electronic sources. And they've had the opportunity to complete questionnaires that best match them to careers. They've made use of software such as Zello, UCAS and Prospects. Also in Year 13, students received a one-to-one guidance interview with a member of staff. This will allow them an opportunity to complete research on at least 3 courses and discuss potential post-18 options that they were considering. In Year 13, students were allowed to avail of work experience both virtually and physically. They had the opportunity to do this in January as well as after their AS examinations in June and also in the month of August. It is school policy that Year 14 students should not be allowed out of school to complete work experience. If there's any student that has a real issue with this, they should speak to myself. Now, as they enter Year 14, they are at the point where they will be applying and trying to secure a mix of post-18 options. And I do want to encourage them to apply for a variety of post-18 options to keep as many pathways open to them for as long as possible. On the screen, I've highlighted some of the main options. UCAS is one that I will talk more about later. They will also have the chance to look at the Republic of Ireland University System, the CAO system. Part-time degrees will also be covered during the year with them through the likes of University of Ulster and also the Open University. We will also encourage them to consider foundation degrees that are typically offered through the likes of Belfast Met and NRC. Some students may also want to consider university even further afield, and on the screen I've highlighted some of the best websites to find out more information about those options. In recent years, apprenticeships have become a much more popular option to our students, and there's a variety of apprenticeships available. There's your traditional apprenticeships, such as through the trades as plumbers, joiners, etc. But there are many more apprenticeships now in the area of higher level apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships. On the screen, I've highlighted some of the main opportunities that are available. The likes of the professional services companies such as PwC, Deloitte and EY offer a mixture of degree and higher level apprenticeships. A local organisation called WorkPlus brings a lot of companies together to offer apprenticeships at various levels. UCAS has a great sources of information available to find out more about apprenticeships, and on the Northern Ireland Government website there is some information also on apprenticeships. Another option that some students will consider is taking a gap year between their upper 6th year and moving on to whatever they do next. For some of them it may be staying at home and taking up part-time employment and doing volunteering work to enhance maybe some of their skills and qualities. For others it may be a very exciting year away travelling the globe with some sort of project. On the screen I've highlighted some very useful websites that can provide more information on this gap year option. The majority of students have indicated that they intend to apply to university. The process for this has already commenced on their first day back into Year 14, and I'll talk a little more about that process in a minute or two. Open days are now very much underway, and students will have the opportunity to attend our local unis open days, University of Ulster and Queen's, and this year that will be through a mixture of school events and also the student to attend independently. On the screen I've highlighted key dates. So on Thursday the 7th September, students will have the opportunity to attend the school's open day at the University of Ulster Belfast campus, but they may also independently attend the University of Ulster Magee and Coleraine open days on the dates highlighted on the screen. Queen's University Belfast are having their open day on Saturday the 9th of September, and students may register for this event. I will now provide some more details on the UCAS process. It's a standard application form with the standard sort of details required, such as personal details. And I've highlighted on the screen the key sections that they will have to complete. Two sections I've highlighted in yellow, which students typically find much more challenging. Students are allowed to enter 5 choices on their UCAS application. These choices should be related choices, because accompanying these choices they need to write a personal statement which outlines why they want to apply to the courses they do. It is very difficult to write a personal statement for multiple different courses. For example, it's very difficult to write a personal statement for nursing and law as very different courses. The section I've highlighted in purple also indicates that the school will provide a reference on each student. During the first 2 months of Year 14, much emphasis is placed on completing the UCAS process. What goes into the form has already been covered on the previous slide. What I want to cover on this slide is what happens in school with students to help with this process. On their return to school, they will have had an information session on how to register onto the UCAS system and how to enter the basic admin details. There will also be some tutorials on how to write a personal statement. All students are provided with a guidance booklet that gives them much more information. As well as whole year group sessions, students will be assigned a UCAS Post-18 mentor, a member of staff. This teacher will have at least 2 meetings with the student. At the meeting, the mentor will provide feedback on the personal statement and give advice on how it may be improved. The mentor will also be the person who writes the reference. So during the meetings with the student, the mentor will also gather information to aid them in the writing of the reference. The UCAS form requires subject teachers to give a predicted grade. How these predicted grades are used varies by university, and students should conduct research into the use of predicted grades for their course. Your young person will be familiar with centre-determined grades that were used to determine their GCSE grades. I do want to stress that if a situation was to arise that we had to generate centre-determined grades this year, there are no guarantees that centre-determined grades will be the same as UCAS predicted grades. Schools aim to be positive but realistic with UCAS predicted grades, but a centre-determined grade will be based on the evidence that the student has provided through assessment methods. What the student needs to do. It is imperative that the student realises they have the biggest role to play in this post-18 transition procedure. I've highlighted some of the key activities students need to have completed. They need to have reached a decision on the courses options that they're going to consider applying for this year. That could be a gap year, it could be their UCAS form, it could be apprenticeships. For UCAS choices, they need to have considered courses that there's a strong link between, as they will need to produce one personal statement and they need to explain why they want to apply for that course. It's extremely difficult to write a personal statement for multiple courses. They should also be ready with any other post-18 options they hope to apply for, such as apprenticeships, etc., as those application systems do kick off quite soon. Thorough research needs to have been conducted into all courses. All have conducted research into 3 courses for their careers guidance interview in Year 13. It's important that they've looked at the academic and non-academic criteria. It's important that they know what the criteria is for that course so they can demonstrate this in their application forms. Students should have investigated the selection methods used for that course or career. Is it just an application form? Is there extra tests, LNAT, UCAT, aptitude tests, etc.? Is there an assessment centre, for example PwC Flan Start degree at Newcastle? Do they need to produce a portfolio for the likes of architecture or art courses? Are there interviews included? What type of interview? Is it a video interview? Is it a face-to-face interview? Courses such as teaching, medicine, dentistry, nursing, physio and apprenticeships will all require an interview. They should also have looked into what relevant skills and qualities are essential for that particular course as well. During the UCAS procedure in school, it is important that the student meets the deadlines that their mentor has given them. The team of mentors that work with students will be looking after a group of students. So it is important that students do appreciate that they are not the only student that member of staff will be looking after. In school, we have an internal deadline of half term, Wednesday the 25th of October. This is earlier than the official UCAS deadline. We like this early completion date for several reasons. Sooner applications are in, sooner offers may come in. Some unis may make their first round of offers in November, e.g. Queen's and Glasgow. It also allows the students to bring the focus back to their studies. For some courses, there's an early closing date, and this is the 16th of October. But students will need to work to an earlier date for the school to be able to process their part of the application. Before the UCAS form is sent, there is a cost that must be paid. This year it is £27.50. This must be paid to the General Office before the UCAS form can be sent. As well as support with the UCAS procedure, students are given other opportunities to help them with the transition at 18. One of these events is the Selection Interview Skills event. It is becoming much more important that students are aware of other selection methods. Success depends on much more than good grades and a good application form. So many courses and careers will have additional selection methods, nursing, apprenticeships, teaching, to name a few. The event on Tuesday the 10th of October will look at selection tests and also a focus on the different types of interview and how to prepare. This event will be very beneficial for all students. To help students prepare for interviews, we run a mock interview event. Our intention is to hold this event on Wednesday the 15th of November from 4:30 to 7 p.m. The event requires students to complete a short application form, and then on the evening they will have a 15 to 20-minute interview with a panel of 2 to 3 professionals who then give feedback on their performance. It's a great opportunity to practice interview technique. It's also a good way to alleviate some of the nerves that students have in relation to interviews. Please encourage your son or daughter to avail of this event. It really is helpful for their post-18 option, but further on in life as well. By the way, we're also looking for willing volunteers to act as interviewers on that evening. The area of allied health and nursing areas we struggle to find professionals to help with in this event. CAO, Central Applications Office. In November, once the UCAS applications are away, students receive information on the CAO system. This is the University and College Application System for the Republic of Ireland institutions. I would encourage students to consider applying through this system as well as the UCAS system for the following reasons. It's a good backup. For example, nursing in the Republic of Ireland does not require any interview, whereas in the UK system, interviews are key to the selection procedure. Currently, only a registration fee of €3,000, so that is cheaper than any of the Northern Ireland universities and the rest of the UK. It's a very simple application form in contrast to the UCAS form. It also allows them greater flexibility in choice courses. It allows 10 courses, and these courses do not have to be related. You just complete the application form in genuine order of preference. We do realise that for some of our students, university is not the best option for them. These students have all been assigned a mentor who will look after UCAS, but also have a conversation with them about their other post-18 options. They will also be referred on to myself, who I will meet with them for additional guidance. We also may be able to refer them on this year to our local careers service for further guidance on alternative post-18 options. As well as the university options, we will be running other workshops and guest speakers on a range of other pathways. So we will have apprenticeships, we always bring Work Plus in December. Part-time degrees, we bring a representative from the University of Ulster in to speak about their opportunities in part-time degrees. We will talk a little bit about further education and higher education college and bring in a guest speaker from that area, and sponsorship will also be covered as well. I also want to take this opportunity to remind you that much information is sent to your son or daughter via email, so please remind them to check these emails. Typically around March time, students will receive information on the student finance arrangements. This is the information about how do they apply for tuition fee loans at university and what other type of financial support is available, such as maintenance loans and maintenance grants. There is much more information available on the Students Finance NI website. On this slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about student finance. The data taken on this screen has come from Student Finance NI. So how much can your son or daughter obtain in terms of finance if they go to university? It very much does depend on household income. So the greater the household income, the less that is available. If I take, for example, if a household income was at 25,000, a student would be entitled on previous figures to 2,201 as a grant, which does not have to be repaid, but they're also able to take some loan out, and the amount of loan varies depending on where they decide to study. So if they decide they are studying in Glasgow, they could obtain up to 5,131 as a loan, but if they were in London, they would obtain a greater figure. And if they decided to live at home and maybe commute into Belfast or Queen's or Ulster, the loan would be less again. Universities should have reached their decisions by the end of March on a normal year. Students will then receive some guidance on how to narrow their 5 choices down to 2, a firm and insurance. Firm should be a course with higher grades, and insurance should really be a backup to that. They will also receive guidance as to what happens in August following the publication of results. Finally, I want to finish by suggesting how you can support your son or daughter through this transition time. Speak to them about their research. We are looking them to have their research fairly well completed by the 28th of September. Ask them, have they checked all the criteria? Are they fully aware of what selection methods they're going to encounter? Encourage them to contact universities' employers, attend open days, and look out for job opportunities. Read through personal statement on the UCAS form and proofread application forms that they're completing for other options. Encourage them to avail of all opportunities that are on offer in school, such as the mock interview event. On this final slide, I've highlighted some useful websites that your son or daughter has been encouraged to use that you may also find useful to have a look at. I would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation. I hope you have found it useful.